Hello, so we're back with Lord of the Rings, and we're going to be starting with East Moria, but first we have some evil mode to attend to. And we're back with the Watcher in the water. More tentacle action, as promised. And just a FYI, for some reason the recording software not doing so hot here. Not quite as bad as it was one time, but it's a little choppy. Let's just say that. But it's just for this part, like the rest of it seems pretty good. So yeah, I was surprised that Flaming Fury worked on him. I was like, I don't know, I was like, oh okay, big water thing, that won't be bad, but I don't know. That always kind of confused me, because I figured, like, you would think, oh, it's in the water, so fire's not going to hurt it, because the water puts it out immediately. But, I mean, if you think about it, of course, A, it'll make the water boil, and then B, I don't know, I mean, it's like, not going to have this, unless it has, like, some kind of big old exoskeleton or whatnots, you know, it's all gooey and fleshy, you think the fire's going to kind of affect that pretty quickly. And I'm just going to spam some Reeking Spout here, because, why not? You know, it's fun. When you can spam, why not? It's always a good idea, too. And the AI on this, I feel like the AI on the evil mode is just kind of random. I feel like sometimes it's not exactly, you know, going to make 100% sense with what it does. That right there, Stonehewer, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm pretty sure there's no way you could have had that in West Moria. In fact, I don't even know if you could have had it in East Moria, unless you just, like, went farming for orcs or something. Unless you're just running around the countryside, just killing every orc, and getting that little Sauron eye to pop up, like, a million times. I really don't think you could do that. So I guess even the AI is just farming at this point. This one's kind of fun. Like, this evil mode itself is not very long at all, because this is pretty much the extent of it. Like, this fight's the last one, actually. But it's kind of interesting. I always like where you have levels going on, where you have, you know, the archers in the back, everybody else in the front. Here's another one. I don't really think Arrow's asleep. I don't really think you can have that unless you're just trying real hard there. And at that point you're just over-leveling, you really don't need to. And this is a game where I feel like it's okay if you're over-leveling, because there are, like, a good number of fights. And so, you know, just making some of those fights go by a little bit more quickly, because you have, you know, higher strength than maybe you would necessarily supposed to. It's not a huge, you know, terrible loss or anything. You're not, like, just breezing through the game. I mean, you still have a bit before you get to plotty points. So, you know, not too bad. Hadhod annoys the shit out of me in this one. He just kind of, I don't know. He's always kind of the fortress. He's always, like, really armored up and just taking everybody down, and it's just annoying. And it gets annoying pretty quickly, just because you have to, like, at a certain point, it's going to be pretty much, you know, you have one guy down there, you have the archers, but you're like, the archers do arrow, and that's it. They just shoot, and that's about it, and it doesn't do anything else. And it's okay, but it's not great. It gets a little boring to see, like, 80 million times. But that's kind of all we have right now, because, you know, the veteran dude is stunned, and then we're just sitting here shooting him. Hadhod full of arrows. He just, at a certain point, the arrows don't even hit him anymore, like, it's just the arrows hitting another arrow. At first, for a second, when I saw this at first, I thought, oh no, like, this is gonna... And if we can't kill him quickly, this is going to take forever, because he can't hit us at all, so we won't even lose. But then I realized now he has Flaming Fury, so he can use that. Or Damaging Shield. Well, actually, no. Because Damaging Shield, which I think we learn a little bit later in here, the arrows don't affect it. And so you get a little bit of stuff for that. You get some things for Barathor, and then you get I believe it was the Elfstone of Shadow Protection. And then we start up right where we just finished, actually, which is convenient. Right back here. Everybody's still crawling around. Those guys are just chilling while their buddies fought. Oh, thanks a whole bunch, Hadhod. Didn't realize that. Didn't, you know, see the fire and hear the, I don't know, giant thing cracking around and breaking rock. Oh, yeah, again, thank you, really. Seek shelter from the thing blowing flame at you. I think I feel kind of bad for the Balrog, because I feel like he's just trying to sleep. He's like, you know, I was here for... because he was there first, I'm sure. I mean, he's some ancient nether being. I'm sure he was there before the dwarves were, and they were just like, well, hey, let's just call this home. And then didn't realize, oh yeah, there's like orcs and wargs and a giant Balrog and crap like that. Like, maybe they should stay here first. The dwarves are basically like Europe, and the Balrog is the Native Americans. That's basically how it is. Everyone knows Native Americans are covered in fire and can fly. Everyone knows that. It is known. I love using that with anything, basically. Just saying it is known with like every single thing. Pop out here. East Moria is pretty much the same as West Moria. I mean, obviously, they're both Moria, but I mean, not much of difference. I mean, there's a couple different enemies you'll get, like just a few, but that's about it. I actually had to re-record like everything up to right about that point where there was a obvious cut and the color looked different. I had to re-record because even though I did it and recorded it like a year ago now, about. Somehow that part, I must have maybe deleted that video or something, because I still have all the other ones I did after it. Like, I haven't done the whole game yet, but all the rest. But I just had to re-record all this whole part, so I just played this, like, probably, I think it was yesterday, actually, that I did that. More of people just kind of being dicks. I feel like the orcs at this point, I mean, if they've heard anything from their buddies, should be like, hey, these people over here have killed, like, you know, what, 100 of us, or however many, and, like, have not even slowed down. We haven't taken one of them down. Maybe we should get out of the way. Also, there is a giant flame monster, which, again, I think we probably should have rethought, but whatever. Just like the idea that the orcs are like, should we live out in... orcs and goblins are like, should we live on, like, a field, or, like, in a big forest or something? Like, live out there? Or should we, you know, where we might encounter a human or two, or whatever. Or should we live in this giant cave with a giant flame beast? Like, what does that say about people? I just love the line in, what was it? It was the line, it was in Lord of the Rings, obviously, but I think it was, I don't remember who said it, I think it was Elrond, and he was like, men? Men are weak. And I'm like... Amen, Elrond. Preaching to the motherfucking choir. Oh my goodness. Because then it makes you wonder how they refer to, like... How do you refer to a male elf? Do you just call it a male elf? Like, because you can't say, oh, look at that guy, or that man. Because that's not a man, it's an elf. And because they call, you know, humans men in general. I don't know. It's weird. I was gonna show off Citadel Rage there, but there's sometimes where you're like, I don't want to spend that many points. You know, it's gonna be overkill. And then, of course, whenever you do that, Barethor decides to not hit the person with Guardian Strike, and you're like, well, that's great. So I'm gonna show off, as always, I'm skipping through any of the stats building just because it gets boring after a while. I mean, there's a whole lot more of that going on, and it actually cuts down considerably the amount of time. But I'm just going to show the items, you know, getting the actual weapons and armor and whatnots, and not the actual, like, you know, using items and stuff. So if you notice, because anytime they gain a level, they're going to get, you know, all their health and AP back. Even if you don't increase their, you know, HP or AP at all by what you did. But if you know, there might be some times where you'll cut back and you'll be like, oh hey, they didn't just get a new, you know, level, but now when it came back to the next you know, battle, they have all of their AP and HP and everything. I'm just using items, and I'm cutting that out because that gets boring. It's boring, but it's my life. The arrow flurry too. This is the worst tasting flurry, FYI. It's pretty harmful, you know, because at first you get the cream and you get the arrow, of course, in a little woody, nutty flavor, but then pretty soon you get a little taste of blood, you know, from your tongue being cut open and your mouth. They quickly discontinued that in McDonald's, you know. First you got the lady with spilling the coffee on her lap, and then you got the kid with a mouthful of arrows. The child size just has tiny arrows. There's little arrows. The adult size just has, like, full-on, like, a shaft of an arrow in there. Like, your entire mouth is just filled with the arrow. I love when they do the victory pose and they started out with having an arrow in them. Because it's like, yeah, awesome. Oh, ow, ow, I shouldn't do that. I need help. I have to say, I'm, like, so glad the chests glow, and I actually don't even think that you can turn off that feature. Like, maybe in hard mode, I don't know, maybe if you play that difficulty, they don't glow, but I don't think there's a specifically make chests not glow thing. But it's really good, because there's sometimes where, and you have to get close to them, it's not like they glow from, like, you know, millions of yards away or anything like that, so you have to kind of get close to it. But it's really useful, because some of these places are dark, and it's one of those games where there are places where you're like, I kind of want to turn the brightness up on my TV to the point where it looks stupid, but I need to see. Only their fear of the Balrog is passing. Like, you just fought them in, like, a giant room right before it came over. Like, they've seemed pretty chill with the whole thing the entire time. They're trying to surround us again! Really should have figured out that they were going to be doing that. I don't know what I expected. McFlurry is one of those things, I just like using it. It just, you know, it's obviously you can only use it when there's 2 or more people, but it just kind of, it's nice because it evens it out. You don't just get one big dose of attack. You know, if you have a couple enemies and they both have the same, because, and I think this is probably a strategy you use with RPGs in nearly any battle, unless it's like a boss or something. But you want to try to take down one person first. And obviously with this, since you can see exactly who's going next and, you know, all this stuff, and how many people are going at a time, you can see, oh, well, this guy's gonna go next, but the other guy's going 3 times after that, so I'll just try to get him out. And you just try to focus on this one guy and get him out. Or even if they're not going next, if you're like, hey, this guy's got magic, like, really any of the times with the goblins, or I think the orcs do too, they have, I don't remember the name, I think it's like a chieftain. But they're basically the guys with those little sticks that shoot the flame of Udun and all of that. And those guys get annoying because they can heal the other guys, they can use that, so not so fun. So you want to try to get them out as quickly as possible, and then deal with the little, you know, archers and jobbers, things like that. I kind of wonder where you get your specialties, like, you know, is it orc, like, or a goblin, I keep saying orc, but goblins are types of orcs, so I don't know. But they keep calling it, like, do you have little families? Do you have, like, you know, you're going to be a chieftain when you grow up, just like your papa was. He's like, no, Papa, I want to be an archer. It's like, no, son. What you speak is blasphemy. Like, do they have this whole caste system of goblins? They're just like, no, you are born to this. Or it's some kind of, like, giver situation where it's like, here, you draw your name out of a hat. You were chosen for this. Well, you were born in this year, so now you're going to be, you know, the craftsman or the archer or whatever. I don't know. I'm reading entirely too much into it, but it's a fantasy world, so I'm allowed to do that. I do always hate, though, because I'm one of those people, I will just, you know, read the shit into stuff all the time. Like, I will take everything to 11 in terms of, like, exposition and stuff like that. And so, if there's anything to be made of, like, oh, well, what possible reason is there for this, or what kind of, you know, class system do the goblins have, I will do it. And I hate when people say, like, oh, you can't, you're like, it's just a show, or it's just a book, or just a game, or whatever, like, you shouldn't look into that stuff, or you're trying too hard with that. Like, there's some cases, I guess, where I can see that being the case, where I'm like, okay, that's a little much, but for the most part, no. Like, I think pretty much anything is able to be dissected like that. Like, if you're going to take the time to build a world, you need to make it good, and you need to make it questionable and stuff like that. Goodness knows I'm always doing that with Game of Thrones. So I love that show, and I think it exemplifies the ability of them to do that, to create this world that has... It deals with all of the, you know, really weird, shitty situations and like, practical things. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about another fantasy world while I'm playing in one fantasy world. It's like, no! What are you doing? I'm basically just using Haste of the Elves here because I was like, I don't have much AP left, and I don't really feel like doing some of this other stuff. I kind of forgot for a second you could wheel around. I was thinking, oh no. I tried a few times in this one because I was like, oh okay, I'll just pop Barithor out because I want to get him some XP. You can't. For some reason, in these wheelabout ones, you can't, and I don't really understand why. I guess because it's supposed to be like, oh, you're surrounded by the orcs, so nobody can just jump in? Which is a kind of weird thing, because then you're thinking about, like, so Barithor's just standing off to the side, like, even when there's just two guys right on the edge. They're like, Barithor, are you gonna come over? You want to help out? Or, like, no, you got this. It's fine. You just sit this one out, you know? A little, my foot hurts a bit. I stepped on a skull, and it hurt. So I'm just gonna chill over here if that's alright. The way they call it wheelabout, not just like move, or turn, or like go clockwise or whatever, just like wheelabout. Wheelabout to the orc. Again, I say orc, I don't know. I'm just gonna say whatever I say. Just saying words. You know how I do. So we got another cloak. I don't really know how the cloak is benefiting you in terms of armor. Don't really understand that. I mean, you wouldn't think the cloak would be that thick. He's got like a frickin' Kevlar cloak over here. Like if you're, you know, what's it called? Like the Cuirass? I forget. It's like Cuirass or something. Queer ass. No. Pretty sure that's not what it's called. Put on this queer ass. Why is this wolf biting me in the dick? It's like, really? Massive swing. As opposed to a tiny swing that guy can do. As opposed to this dainty swing. She's gotta be hitting that, throwing that water pretty hard. Because just like a little spray of water like that, it's like, nah. It's like, oh, okay, thanks. I needed a bath. You know, that was nice. Just love how he's like, yeah. Oh. Hello, Batman. He just, Headhot is either Sean Connery or Bane. That's basically it. Just tiny Bane. Just picture Tiny Bane with an axe just running around. Do you like the dwarves, Batman? Some of these I'm just showing off because this East Moria in particular, you get a lot of items that you actually are crappier than the items you had before. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'll just show it what it looks like, but we're not doing that. So I did in this, I'll go ahead and just mention it briefly. What I'm going to do here is, some of these fights are pretty repetitive. They're basically just against the same people, and so I'm just going to go ahead and make them quick. And as far as I can tell, there's not going to be any sound from the game during this, because Windows Media Player doesn't want to do that. I might be getting Vegas, because, actually, speak of the devil, I got a little, like, award thing at work, and so I might be buying Vegas, depending on how much that ends up being. I don't want to spend too much out of pocket for that, if this is working fine. So, I might be getting that, so that'll help out in that regard, but who knows? You'll see, as time comes, what I do. But I still have to make it faster just because, you know, I mean, some of the fights, if it's going to be with, like, a troll, because there's a few trolls in this that are, like, an objective to get, or if it's a certain area, something like that, where there's some kind of different configuration, I'll go ahead and leave that normal speed. I think I also do kind of stop the slowdown for a second for one of these where I get, like, a new ability. So I'll do that just to... I don't even know why I do that. I think just to kind of show it, to be like, hey, you got the thing. But otherwise, I mean, you still get the gist of it. You can still see what I'm using if you want to, you know, like, keep that. See, here I slow it down because I just got Fellowship Race. Which actually, and so that's the other thing, because I think we already got this. Since I have replayed this, I didn't start this out with all the same abilities necessarily as I had in the original playthrough, and I don't know what I had, I don't know exactly what I got, and since I've already played through, the rest of it to a certain point, it would be, let's just say tedious to find out exactly what skills I had at the end of this section, and then be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna strategically set those skills and get that many things and then do that. Like, it's not gonna work. And I figured it's just this one part I have to play. All the other parts that I did after this are fine. So I'm just gonna leave that as is. I also, to make this go by a little bit more quickly, the whole East Moria thing, I went ahead and what I did was, I actually did some evil modes from the future. Went to the future of Lord of the Rings and came back and gave them some stuff. So I did find out, because I tried to see, like, oh, okay, here's a new sword for Barethor, let's give that to this save. It won't carry over. He does not get the sword from that. Like, if he gets a really cool sword in the future evil mode, he doesn't have it here. However, the Elfstones, they do go over. I don't know why. Not really sure. I don't know why they wouldn't be affected by that, I don't know, like, why not go ahead and do that, but I don't know. So those ones I did put on Hadhod. I was about to call him Gimli. I gave him a spirit, I think it was like a polished elfstone of spirit or something, and it just basically makes his spirit powers really, really great. And so that's why if you see him doing Flaming Fury and getting like 8,000 points against an enemy and they just die immediately, that is why. Because I was like, let's just go ahead and make this a little quicker, just get through this. But so, certainly any powers I'm getting here, like whatever few ones I do, are not going to be the same thing. They're going to, it's going to be different once I get back to East, I think it's called East Emnet or East Emmet Gullies, I don't remember what. Well, that's the next section after this. But so after that, it's going to be consistent, as far as it possibly can be. And I did also, during this too, kind of remove some of the... I did gradually remove those Elfstones. I did for Hadhod, and I know I did eventually for Idriel, because I also gave her... It was like, it wasn't a polished Elfstone of Spirit, it was a cracked, slightly shitty Elfstone. Rather unkempt Elfstone. I took hers off. So that... Which I feel like they were still giving way too much... damage though, so I don't really know why, if I took this off, but whatever. When you speed this up, their running out of here is just infinitely better. Like, it's just like, you're just like, whoa! Whoop, 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 whoop. And here we go. Nice little action-y thing. I think they're little things of, like, victory stances and everything, and, like, victory poses and stuff are made even better when they're like, hurry, we have to go save this person, or we have to kill that guy, he's gonna do this, and then they're still taking the time. It's like, Idril, would you stop? We have to kill this guy, he's like murdering our friends. Like, could you stop for a second? Maybe do that later. She's like, no, I must dance. I do get a little tripped up on here just because this part especially is very jagged. There's lots of little places, and it's not always super clear, oh, okay, there's a chest there, or I can walk here, I can't walk there. So it's a little bit tricky sometimes. This, of course, straight stairway, not too bad. You also get a lot in East Moria. I feel like more so than some other areas, or at the beginning of it anyway. You start getting where you'll actually see little, like, goblins or what have you, like, come up and they'll be like, oh, we're gonna attack you, and then they attack, and it's like a scripted thing. And so it's not like if you go back through and are, like, farming or anything, they're not gonna just pop up in random places. I mean, that would be a little too much to be expected. And I keep forgetting here that the shaman guy is immune to the fire, and so I keep doing that. I love when they're immune to it and they still fall over. Like, I just like the idea that they're like, I don't know if they're just, like, acting, they're like, or if it's like when you get, like, you know how when you get scared of something, like, something just kind of, it's not like you're scared, but something just kind of, like, frightens you, it's like a jump scare or something, And it's not like you're actually hurt or anything, but you just kind of go like, ow. Like, you just kind of don't know what to do. It's like your body's just like, I need to somehow express that I didn't get that, or I didn't expect that. Like, so you just say ow, even though nothing hurt at all. And then you feel like you have to explain yourself to others around you. You're like, no, it didn't hurt. I said, no. You're just like, why do I do the things I do? Popping everybody back in. I try to kind of even out everyone. I know I keep Idriel at the front, and I think the reason for that, I might have said this before, is because Idriel's obviously like the healer. I think there might be a couple other people later on that can sort of heal, like a little bit. I mean, obviously themselves, but I think everybody at some point can heal themselves with an attack they have to like an extent. But she's the only one who's like legitimately like healing people and doing stuff. In this section in particular, and I don't believe I had this power as of the Eregion one, I'd have to look back, but in East Moria especially, or West Moria, I'm sorry, I didn't look back for there either, but in East Moria especially, you have to make sure she gets Aura of the Valor before the last fight in East Moria, and when that comes up, I'll explain why, but at the end, it's like, you pretty much have to have that. Like, I've never done that part, the end part, without it, but I feel like it would be impossible. Like, it's pretty dang hard. And there's, of course, lots of areas in the future where it's pretty much imperative to have that, if not just, you know, really, really useful. It really helps out. And, of course, I'll let you know what that is, too, once I get that. But for now, we are zipping on through. Popping fools left and right. Yeah, I didn't use my perfect mode there, I was just kind of waiting. Sometimes you get it and there's only like a guy left and you're like, you know, I'm gonna wait. Some of these things, I don't even know what they do. Like, I always kind of remember the basic ones, like King's Foil is health and Lembus is AP, and I think there's like Satchel of Old Toby or something, which I'm pretty sure Old Toby is the weed in the original here, in the movie. Have defaced this place. My lord, I apologize. No, that's cool. It's alright. Yeah, just get out. It's cool. A spy? Yes, it's a troll spy. I gotta think, whoever made the troll a spy is probably regretting it now. You're like, Gondahad, what did you find? And he's like, no. He's like, I'm sorry, what did you find? Okay, so are they over, are they there? Okay, alright, this was a terrible idea. I'm regretting everything I've ever done. Can you please give me back your vest? I don't know if that was a yes. I'm not gonna go ahead and take that. You just, you keep that. It's yours. I can't wear it anyway. At that point I was wondering, I didn't know if Creature Bane would work. Like, it's a little confusing as to what they consider a creature, because you really don't fight that many, like, men, or, I don't think you fight any elves, obviously, unless you're in evil mode, but, I don't think you fight any, like, there's the wild men from Eregion that you fight, and there's, like, a couple, like, one-off things where you fight a guy or something, but I don't think, other than that, I mean, you really don't fight any people, so I don't know why they have that there. Because otherwise, wouldn't you think everything in this would basically be a creature? I mean, an orc is a creature. Technically, I mean, humans and elves and stuff are creatures, I don't know. Unless you're fighting, like, and you don't fight Ents or anything here. It's like a plant or anything, I don't know. It's, who knows? That would be interesting to look up at some point, maybe see if they have... with this old game, I doubt there's actually anything anywhere that says, okay, this is a creature, this is not, for this particular game. It's one of those things, there's certain things that just kind of like, you'd almost have to find somebody who works on this game and be like, hey, so... just kind of like secretly find them somehow and ask. Just go up to like one of the actors from like Lord of the Rings, like somebody who has literally like no idea. just ask, like, Ian McKellen, even though he did technically work on this game, like, per voiceover. Just be he's like, finally, I met Ian McKellen, what am I gonna ask him? So yeah, do you know what counts as a creature in the game, The Third Age? Just be like, yeah. Oh, I just love the idea of asking celebrities things that have literally nothing to do with their thing. Like, just something, not even stuff about other celebrities that they don't know or haven't met or have anything to do with. Just being like, they'd be like, yeah, so Julianne Moore, yeah, so what was it like to work with, Michael Jackson? She's like, what? Yeah, so, or even just asking, I don't know, like, Peter Dinklage, just asking him, like, so yeah, what's your, do you know with Rush, what was the name of their third album? And he's like, what? He just happens to know that answer. He's like, oh, okay, thank you, Peter Dinklage. Thank you for that. Some more running. These dwarves, I kind of see why they died, because they had no handrails anywhere. I gotta think they weren't stolen, because you think there'd be at least a couple left. I think you kind of jumped there, Idriel. I think you were asking for that. Like how she's like, don't worry. I'm like, oh, shouldn't you be worrying? Like you're hanging off of an effing ledge? What? Okay. Seems a little sudden there. I just did. It's a little random there. Didn't he pull her up to the ledge they were just on? Like, they were running down the stairs, so how are they in a new area? I didn't think about that when I was playing this. I don't know. Yeah, I got Fellowship Grace. I don't really use it a whole bunch, because most of the time you're good with AP. Like, there's a few times you might have to top off with an item or something, but you really don't encounter that a huge amount. Because normally after, like, a thing's over, like, after you're done, you know, the battle, if you're running low, if you noticed at the end, oh, okay, I'm running a little low, you just, you know, top off, and then you're good for the next battle, and you're pretty much okay. Because any of those items, like, any of the, you know, AP or HP items, you can use in and out of battle. But if you use them in battle, of course, that's going to count as a turn, so you're going to try to avoid that, of course, as much as possible. I like the idea that you can, like, literally swap out with a partner and, like, have, you know, switch Aragorn. I was about to say Aragorn. Yeah, Aragorn for Varathor. You can do that, and that doesn't count as a turn. You can just flip around as much as you want to. But using an item, no, that's a turn. Like, just literally grabbing something out of your pocket and eating it. It's like, nope, that's a turn. You get tired of the archers after a while. Not the show archer, though. That stuff's classy. So it's had its moments. You know, it's come and gone. Like I think it was the 6th season, maybe? The one where they were, like, drug lords, basically. That one I was not so big on. Just because I'm not a huge fan of drug humor in general. Like, it kind of depends what they're doing with it, but most of the time, no. But yeah, pretty good otherwise. Very good show otherwise. And the last season was pretty good, too. Flicking around a bit. It's good that these, you know, orcs and goblins left all these chests around with stuff in them. Especially, like, I kind of wonder why there's any elf stuff in the Moria, you know? They're like, elves, we hate elves. Oh, you can build our doors and everything, but, you know, we don't trust you with anything. That's why we left all of these items for you. That's why we left all this stuff you can use. I do also like that, you know, they were talking about, like, oh, go into Moria and see what treasures you can find, and, you know, you'll need all of these mystical items to do crap, and it's like, you know, but then you like, oh, I got this other item, oh, well, it's better. It's like, but that's the mystical, you know, sword of Elendil that, you know, wields the magical light of, you know, Celebrimbor and all this stuff, and it's like, but this one has better attack. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. You do that. Ooh, I love that little thing that those, you know, soldiers do, like the little shuffle they do. You're just like sneaky. Just hop on by. this guy's a little bit more intense here. He's like, I guess, kind of a, you know, amped up version of the, you know, goblin mage guy they have. Which I guess he's technically goblin mage too. He's a, let's see, he's like a chieftain. He's the chieftain. I forget what the other ones are exactly. From the way I'm watching this, it's hard to actually read the smaller print. But yeah, he's a shadow chieftain. He's a shadow chieftain, but he uses fire. Like, shadow, fire's pretty bright. Yeah, I'm not so sure about your shadow epithet there. Epithet, is that the, I don't know. I'm an English major, I should know these things, but I don't, so whatever. See, he has the Inferno of Udun. So much different. Not quite sure. I know they said it's an altar, but I'm not really sure what that thing is back there. They're just like, I don't know, it's an altar to what exactly? I mean, I would guess Sauron, but I don't know. I like to think it doesn't actually give them power. That it's like, they're like, oh, we built this altar to Sauron, it's gonna be great, and like, Sauron's like, fine, like, it's not that it's an altar, like, it's not that, because they always treat altars and things like, oh, it actually gives them power, like, if you destroy the altar, they lose their power. But I like the idea that it's like, it's just kind of the god, or whatever it is, it's just like, it's not that it's like, oh, well, I can't give you power, it's like, dude, like, you destroyed the thing? Like, you built the thing for me, and now it's gone? Like, dude. It was really harsh, okay? Like, seriously, I thought we had a thing, alright? Like, you build this nice little altar, you sacrifice these virgins on there, and then I give you untold power. I feel like this is a betrayal. I'm just really... I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Dark Renewal is so annoying. I also feel like Dark Renewal is probably a magazine for African Americans, but I don't know. You tell me. It's not. I know it's not. I joke. // Just love the way he counterattacks. It's like he's slapping. He's like, stop it. It's like, I like the idea that fighting, that it stuns. I think I've said I like the idea like 80 million times in this. I do apologize, but I'll keep on doing that. But I like the idea that when they do stun strike, like how is it that the other attacks don't stun you? Like, you're getting like slashed with a knife. Like, I feel like that would be like, oh, ow, ow, ooh, oh goodness, I'm bleeding a lot. Like my arm is off. I can't. Ow. Like, wouldn't that stun you? Be a little stunned. Like, I guess you're in a battle, so I mean, obviously you're kind of expecting something like that to happen, but I don't know, it's still, I don't know. It's gonna mess you up a bit, I'm sure. It would suck if this game, because, like, it does have animations for when you're, like, lower on health, like, when you're closer to dying. You'll kind of, like, kind of get lower to the ground a little bit, or you kind of look like you're breathing heavy and stuff, but you're not gonna, like, you know, it's not like you fight worse. Like, as far as I can tell, I don't believe there's anything that's going to affect your, like, how much you attack or anything like that. Unless there's a specifically, like, some kind of effect on you. Like, you know, what's it called? Like, status ailment or whatever they call it. I just kind of wonder if there's a way they could, like, fundamentally change RPGs. Because, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, because they're all, like, I mean, they're obviously different. Like, they have different systems sometimes, like how you get XP, or how you get different, like, powers. Like, do you choose what you get, or do you just, it's just like, oh, you're level whatever, so now you have this. But, I mean, they're all pretty much the same. Like, I understand it's a genre, so of course it's going to be, you know, some similar thing, but I don't know. I may be talking out of my ass, I have literally no idea. This is really one of the only RPGs I like, to be honest. I've tried Final Fantasy, and I think I might have said this, but I don't know. Like, I got through most of it. I just couldn't deal with it. It was a little... Final Fantasy X, I'm sorry. That's the least descriptive thing I could have said about that, but yeah. So I was looking over in that top one there, because I was like, oh, let's see, is there a, you know, chest? And there isn't. But there's still stuff there. There's nothing in there, but you can fight there. So I don't really know why. Like, you don't get anything. It's not like it's a troll or anybody important to fight in there like you have to do. So I don't really know why. But it acts like it's a scripted thing because it has that little Palantir thing pop up. Like, oh hey, it's a thing. Like, this is gonna happen if you come in here. It's not like the little Eye of Sauron, which just means like, hey, you're running in Pokemon grass or whatever. I will constantly refer to that, like, because I don't know exactly if there is, even if there is a term for, you know, gradually building up to like, okay, now you're gonna fight somebody. But I just call it like the Pokemon grass effect, just because that's always what it was in like Pokemon Red and Blue at the very least. Was like you would walk around in this like grass or weeds or whatever, and then it's like, oh, okay, if you walk around there, you might have a Pokemon. Like, that's it. You might attack. I've not done the Pokemon Go myself. I played Red and Blue, and I still have those actually, which I think they're worth, you know, a fair bit. Like, nothing crazy, but I don't know. I never really, I don't know. I probably should, because it would get me more exercise. And I do live in like a kind of, I don't know, sort of wooded area, so that would be interesting, but I don't know. I've heard those things about people like, you know, getting hit by like cars and stuff, like walking into things because of Pokemon Go, and I'm like, but how did you not like hit anything while you were like just texting? Like, how have you ever used a phone or any kind of device like that, like an iPad or anything, and not like done that then? Like, why weren't people doing that then? And I'm sure there are probably stories out whenever the iPod first came out, or the iPad, or cell phones, or anything. They were like, oh, you know, people are going to be running into the streets and being stupid because, and like, you know, I'm sure somebody did that.